Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. How are you? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to do your reading, air signs. It's all about you today. We're going to be looking at basically the three piles, which represents really, we're looking at you Gemini, Libras, and Aquas, my fellow Aquas. So timestamp is going to be in the description. We're going to be looking at all areas of life. So that includes your career, your general life, your anything that you're manifesting. And we're really heavily focused on what you're manifesting for the month of December. What are some messages that you can use as guidance? What is it that you kind of need to focus on? And for this month, I'm actually doing something a little bit different. We're going to be setting up a new framework, as you say. We're going to be looking at what you need to release, what you need to embrace, what is here to help you, and why. So the first 5 cards that you're looking at here on the spread on for each of you is going to be really identical because we're going to be asking the same questions. So I just want to kind of give you guys a heads up. We're trying this new framework. It seems to really help me to kind of get some extra messages out for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy that. And if you are brand new here, well, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Consider subscribing to the channel if you have not yet already. We chat at least 2 to 3 times a week on this channel. And we discuss anything and everything spirituality related. We talk about the law of attraction and how we can use all of those things to kind of help you align better with your higher self. So if that sounds good, you would probably enjoy it here. Okay, let's dive right in. Gemini, you are first. You will also notice that I picked 3 clear quartz pieces. They're each different, but yet they're still the same, but they're still different. So I will show you guys a close-up of each. So let's go. I made the assumption that I could get away with not using lights, but that's absolutely not happening. So I wanted you guys to be able to see the cards. So here we go. Let's begin first with Gemini. You are up first. Okay, let's begin first with, here is your crystal. Again, all of them are clear quartz. This one is a beautiful, smooth, tumbled piece. It has some detailing right here in the bottom. It just kind of looks like things kind of get lost in the bottom here. Take a look. Okay, let's begin. So what do you need to release for the month of December? What is like really not serving you for this month? So this says resilience, but what I'm actually getting is all of the things that you're carrying around. Are you carrying other people's stuff for the sake of proving that you're strong enough? Like, are you actually sending this really strong message out there that you're doing all of those things because you have to? It's almost like, I feel like you're really going to be moving through, or you have been moving through your day-to-day stuff when you're really taking on other people's things because you feel like you need to fix them. And I would invite you to ask yourself if that's your problems or that's your concerns that you're taking on, or are you simply attaching to other people's stuff in the assumption it's almost like you're drinking the poison hoping that it will heal someone else. And perhaps that's the part that's really not serving you, in the sake of assuming that it builds endurance, resilience, showing how strong you are. There's other ways that we can do that. Let's see what you actually need to embrace. So this is what's not serving you, that you need to release that. You need to release this idea that you need to show a strong front and you cannot be vulnerable. You need to take on other people's stuff in order for you to be happy. What is it that you need to embrace instead? To me, this is all about the inner wisdom, but also about knowing when to kind of get guidance from your elders, get guidance from books, like start looking at other sources where you can kind of learn from. And here's what it says. If it wasn't for the familiar songs that echo through my spine, I would have lost what is lost and never found my purpose. I think that this is all about really learning how to rely on your own inner wisdom. But I wanted to read the book for you guys because I find the books also super insightful. The wise men guide you to use your logic and intellect at this time. There are times to be driven by the heart and emotion, but there are also times when your conviction, beliefs, and what you know to be right serves as your North Star. This is one of those times. Pulling the wise man is a sign that you need clarity of mind to navigate your situation. Do not allow emotions to color your judgment. Be decisive, take control of the situation, and it's also a sign that you're ready to step up to be a leader for others to follow. Personally, the way that I'm reading this is that I think that you're really, what you need to truly embrace for this month is this idea that in order for you to be loved and accepted, you can simply just be without having to prove anything, without having to be more, and without having this idea that somehow you're less than, you know what I mean? But also like to really learn and understand at a deeper level what your own inner wisdom has to offer you. Use your logic, use your intellect. However, I think that relying on your own inner wisdom is going to really serve you, Gemini. I think that getting rid of the extra weight that is not serving you is going to be step one, and really embracing all of your logical wisdom that you have within you. And what is here to help with that? We have ancient amulets, which is really just a representation of anything and everything. So it's sort of like when you set an intention, for the month, when you set an intention with an intention bracelet, it's all about like really, or you're using your crystals as far as setting intentions and being really clear of what it is that you want. You might use that as sort of like a guiding light. So I invite you to see what you're drawn to for the month of December and use that as sort of a physical reminder to constantly bring you back to this idea of what your inner wisdom is, and let that guide you in making decisions with your work. I'm feeling like this is definitely this overbearing thing is coming up in both your work and your relationships. With work, I feel like it's the boss that wants more and the customers that are overstepping their boundaries consistently. And so you take that on and you kind of don't know, sort of like it makes you slow down in your progress, right? And you're actually not celebrated for the gifts that you have. And I'm also seeing this both with family as well, which for the month of December, you will be spending a lot more time with family, with all the family get-togethers and things like that. So this is sort of like a pre-warning to really use your tools around you to not only set protection around you, to set boundaries, but also to set the intention and really shift your focus towards what you want. Because we can get so caught up in the things that we don't want that we forget to really channel our thoughts, channel our actions, really redirect all of our energies into what we actually desire so that that can amplify. I feel like that's the part that's sort of lacking. And what's here to kind of, so this is what's helping you, like use your physical items, your physical manifestation tools as you will, whatever they are for you. It's going to be something different for each of you, but the more you kind of use those physical items, they can be a physical representation and a reminder for you to kind of return back to center. And the reason why is because it all comes back to you understanding that you're worthy. You're worthy. You are always worthy. Again, it goes back to this idea of, it's almost like you don't feel worthy, so therefore you carry other people's stuff. And you need to remember that there's a lot of wisdom that lies within you, but just remembering that and reshifting your energy to bring you back into alignment is going to be very important. And that part is up to you. It's up to you to manage the people around you, manage your environment, manage your body, manage all of those things in a way that it leaves you in a state of expansion. It doesn't leave you in a state of lack or insecurity or doubt or fear, right? Like when you're carrying other people's stuff, when you're carrying all of these burdens, 80% of it is not even yours. So just kind of remember that. Let's see what the tarot has to say as far as guidance is concerned. You have the Daughter of Wands, Two of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, and we have the Daughter of Cups. So I feel like you're going to be moving through with momentum, but I think that this needs to release. You know what I mean? You need to kind of create your own way in order for you to be able to kind of release the things that are not serving you. I also think that sometimes having this optimistic outlook, having this optimistic, young, naive look on the world can actually be helpful. It's nice when you're not so pessimistic. It's nice when you stay in that state of positive optimism, because that can be the very thing that sometimes what you need. It's okay to be a little bit softer around the edges sometimes, especially when we're moving into the holiday season, when things and energies and all of those things can kind of clash. It's really important to remember sometimes to keep your heart open while you're moving through all of these energies. Also bringing balance back, and I think that this is going to be like the theme of your entire reading, bringing balance back within your finances, bringing balance back in like juggling the obligations of your work, juggling the obligations of the demands of your relationships, both personal and your family obligations. I think that that's going to be the theme going into the month. I also think that hanging on to and not going crazy with what you spend your money on, what you spend your energy on, because abundance is not just the physical, right? Abundance is also about where do you invest your energy, where do you invest your time, what is the return on that. So really pay attention to that, of how that kind of unfolds for you for the month. I think that to me, this is all about, even though Pentacles are generally about money and wealth and abundance, but to me, this is also about make sure that you put equal weight in all of those different areas of your life, so that you don't over pour in one of your cups. So to me, that would be your mind, your body, your soul, take a look at all areas of your life, your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, your relationships. Where do you kind of need to pour a little bit more in, so that you can kind of bring that balance back? And make sure that, your emotions stay intact. Understand and come back to this idea continuously for the month of, how can I bring balance back into my life? How can I move through one of the busiest months of the year with ease? Like, I'm getting ease and grace continuously. But I'm also feeling like, I think that you will need to, in order for you to avoid burnout, you will absolutely need to kind of return back to those practices that are helping you, those practices that really fulfill your cup. Perhaps and you need to kind of figure out what that is for you. What is filling up your cup, right? What is filling up whether it's, spending time with children, or it's spending time with family, or it's reminiscing, or it's connecting with your friends, or really spending quality time, or it's taking yourself out on a date that you haven't done for a long time. You need to kind of figure out what that self-care is going to really look like, and just know that you don't have anything to prove to anybody. You're worthy as is. You're accepted, you're loved as is today, right now. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to carry other people's stuff in order for you to feel worthy. So this is all I have for you for the month of December, Geminis. I hope that this has resonated. Stay tuned until the very end. Well, I will pull a couple of extra cards that we can kind of use as guidance. Let's move on to Libras. Hello, Libras. How are you? Here is your crystal. You're getting this beautiful, again, really sharp edges, cracked, clear quartz. I picked clear quartz for this month because I really wanted to showcase a tool that you guys can use this month to transmute and transfer energy into something more positive. If you have a tumbled piece like this, you can always hold it, and through that, you can actually use that to kind of help you along for the month. Let's see what is not serving, what is not working for you for this month. Gratitude. But really, are you actually appreciating things, right? Are you actually appreciating all the things, all the abundance, all of the things, all the people that you have in your life? Are you appreciating the cycles, right? Are you appreciating where you're from? this month this is going to be highlighted for most of you. I think that really, like, when we're living out of alignment, this might feel like, it's like, what are you taking for granted? Are you taking, and it's like, are you putting up certain things? It's almost like, I feel like you're putting up certain things because you want to be different than, like, you're sort of looking at the family dynamics and there's a lot of things that you don't agree with. What is it that you're trying to kind of break away from, that you're really trying to disown? Because those are the shadows that are really trying to get your attention, to embrace and to fully embody that you accept yourself as not only where you're from, where your lineage is, but who you are, for both the good and the not so great parts of you. They're all parts of you. So I think that when we're looking at, living out of alignment, it just feels like parts of you is not being accepted. And it's not being accepted because I think that if we reject it or we ignore it or we take those relationships for granted, that somehow things will become better or we can surpass things. And you actually surpass things, or you make that leap into the next level when you actually accept and embrace and accept people for who they are. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. Just stop trying to change them. Stop trying to create these little boxes of, you will accept them if they fit into your box, or if they change the way that you want them to morph into your box, right? I just feel like sometimes we get this idea that in order for us to be happy, we need other people to kind of morph into our idea of how they should behave in order for us to give us permission to be happy. And I think that that's what sets us up for not only struggles, but suffering, right? I also feel like this idea of not being grateful for all of the things and where you are today, it's really going to set you up for not really being able to manifest relationships that could actually take you to the next level, whether that's in business or if it's in your career or if it's in your personal relationships. It's like rejecting certain aspects of you will never really get you to feeling fulfilled. What is it that you need to embrace for this month? The poinsettia, the cast a shadow, screams silence at them, dear witch, and what lurks inside transforms into the most beautiful of beauty. Let's take a look at the reading about the poinsettia. This is one of my newer decks, and honestly, I love it, love it, love it. Okay, let me pull it up. Often mistakes as flowers, poinsettias are shrubs native to Mexico, and despite growing all year long, you'll be hard-pressed to find one much past New Year's Day. They have become a symbol of beauty during the cold wintry months, and the bright red leaves against an equally brilliant backdrop of green make them an easy choice to weave into the Yule decor. But the vibrant crimson you see during Christmas is not their natural color. Poinsettias must remain in complete darkness for at least 12 hours a day over 5 days, a process called photoperiodism. There's an important lesson here. Poinsettias shows us the way to find beauty in dark spaces. You have pulled the poinsettia because your hardships, mistakes, and shortcomings are your beauty in the darkness, and you may feel called to hide them for a time where they will slowly morph into something new. When they are finally free to come to the light, you will find your mistakes are stunning representations of your strength and determination to succeed despite your past. But these parts of you cannot come to light without your help. They must be recovered if they are ever to be admired in the light. This process is called shadow work, and when you are brave enough to enter the darkness, you will return wholly transformed. You're being guided to seek out hidden parts. You may think others will judge you for things you've done. That's exactly what it is. I think that these two are absolutely related, where you might be taking people for granted because you're sort of not wanting to accept yourself for who you are, for the mistakes that you made. Like there's like this attachment of shame. There's this attachment of, oh my gosh, what will happen if people find me out? Or what will happen? So it's, I will strike first before they get me, sort of say. And I think that you will be doing a lot more shadow work. I think that a lot more things will get triggered as you're going to be commingling with people, as you're going to be around a lot more people, and as you're going to be spending more time with family. Sometimes family can be our healing balm as well as our our biggest triggers, as we all know it, because there's so many different dynamics that are happening here. So just understanding that you accepting you, other people will no longer have the ability to really affect you, because you're not trying to please them, you're not trying to kind of morph into. So see how you were asking to morph into your idea of perfect? Well, you're kind of doing the same thing here, and you're asked to really embrace all of your mistakes and all of the things that you actually don't like about yourself. The moment you do that, the moment things can transform, and I bet to differ that at that point your relationships will transform as well. Let me see what is here to help you. What's here to help you is your ancestor. What's here to help you is really just communicating with your family. It's understanding your lineage. It's connecting back with your family. It's trying to get to that space where you feel open and comfortable to talk about the things that you have a hard time accepting, and knowing that support is all around you in whoever or whatever you actually consider as family. I think that you're going to go through this full transformation for the month, and it's because you're going to be in the environment where it's getting, not only that it's getting triggered, but it's going to be highlighted for you. It's not to say that you're going to be triggered, but I definitely feel like you're going to have those thoughts come up continuously throughout the month through different things. Perhaps you're purchasing something for the family, or you're purchasing something for, I don't know, for people that you work with. And then all of these ideas of what you consider as like the perfect family or as a perfect relationship, I'm kind of getting that you're sort of going through this process, and as you're going through the month of December, different things will come up, like different themes will come up at different times. So something new will come up with the new moon, something new will come up with the full moon. So just kind of pay attention to what is actually coming up. I feel like journaling is going to be a really good place for you to start. Not so much counseling, but I feel like journaling will be your best friend, or really just talking with someone in the family that you actually kind of confide in. And let's see why this is coming up. It's this whole concept of receiving. Every day it becomes easier to receive the highest divine plan, to trust my inner guidance. I think that you have a hard time receiving. You have an okay time giving, but you have a really hard time receiving. And so it's this whole trigger of, it's almost like, again, like it goes back to like not feeling worthy almost. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to align your energy in a way, and your frequency in a way for you to be able to receive. Can you go back to this idea of really embracing shadow work? Because if you can, then you're going to really realign your energy so that you can actually receive the gifts that the universe has for you. I think that you've been pushing too hard, and I also think that you're being way too hard on yourself and way too unrealistic with some of the things that you really want in your life, or how you really want to manifest them. And I think that that's kind of biting you in the butt right now. Okay, let's see what the tarot has to say for us. Okay, so we have the Mother of Cups, we have the Temperance, we have the Six of Pentacles, and we have the Tower. Let's unpack, shall we? So I think that this whole idea, emotionally, I think that the reason why you're taking people for granted, or you need to release this idea of taking people for granted or not really appreciating your relationships, is because you need more of that nurturing. You kind of feel, or you may be feeling like something is missing, and that something that is missing is for you to feel safe, you know, of how your mom makes you feel. How does Mother Goose, they just always know what is off, what is wrong, how to kind of fix it, right? But when you're kind of going within and kind of separating, then you're not even giving the opportunity for you to kind of get better, or for you to really not only understand yourself better, but it's almost like, I feel like you're being stubborn about this, where it's like, I'll just do it myself. I need to do this on my own. This is my path, and you're not here to help me anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of getting like this stubbornness of like, I don't want to share, therefore just, you know, just buzz off, just let me be, and I'll just kind of go through it on my own path, right? And then there's also this idea of with shadow work, you're going to have emotions come up. You're going to have to kind of figure out how to kind of balance it all. You're going to have to figure out how to bring all of those things to the surface in a way that you can still function, obviously. But also you're going to have to figure out a way to get what you want and still move forward, right? Because when you're just sitting in the muck and not actually working on or seeking the solution or opening yourself up, or I think this is all about surrender to me. That's kind of what I'm getting. I'm getting surrender, because the point is, when all of these darknesses, when you can kind of surrender and let go of this idea of control, of you need to control every aspect of how things are in your life, how things are in your work, how things are in your relationships, when you can let go of that idea and really surrender and open up and hand off all of these things that are kind of weighing you down to something bigger than you, that's when the miracles and that's when the transformation can actually take place. The other thing that I'm also getting here is it's almost like the things that you're kind of working on is starting to take place, is starting to kind of bloom. Very big part of what you're going to be working on has a lot to do with family, whether you're working with your family or they're sort of like the key to kind of help and guide you into the next phase of your life, whether you're going to school or they're guiding you within your relationships, like there's some sort of resolution. I feel like this is basically embracing something within the family, accepting something within your family line, or going through this form of transformation, and transformation comes up again in a second. That's going to kind of yield you into basically creating momentum, essentially creating movement. And really I feel like that this is going to be it can be very prosperous for you for the month of December. I think that this is going to kind of push you forward a little bit. And with this whole concept of receiving, I think that has a lot more to do with breaking down these old concepts that are not serving you, which could have a lot to do with why you're feeling the way that you're feeling right now, right? Like something is breaking apart so that it's there to create some space for you to be able to receive your blessings, for you to receive your guidance into the next phase of your life. With the Tower, I think that like certain aspects of, I think that this is actually going to be a result of the shadow work personally, but I feel like some part of perhaps what you do for work is going to change in a way that it creates some space for you to be able to move on to the next phase of your life. So what does that mean? So that could be like I don't know, like you do something at your work and then that will create or somebody gets fired, or you report something happens, and because of that's kind of outside of you. So this is not necessarily happening to you, but it's happening around you. I'm kind of getting that this is happening around you, like within your proximity, right? And then that creates space for you to be able to receive something that you actually really want. So that could be like a promotion, or that could be like a settlement or an inheritance. But I feel like this is going to be both, or an idea. I'm kind of getting that this is more of an idea or more of a direction, like insight. Not necessarily physical money, but I feel like something will happen that will kind of create space for you to get that insight. So this is all I have for you guys for Libras. Stay tuned until the end and I'll pull a couple of extra cards that I think will be helpful for the collective for the month of December. Let's move on to my Aquas. Hello, fellow Aquas. How are you? I picked this beautiful tumbled piece. So cute. It's so smooth. And I'm not sure if the camera picks it up at all, but it's almost like there's like these little foggy pieces in there. So here's what I'm getting from this. In the morning, especially in December, when you step outside of your house, everything just smells so clean and crisp. You can kind of smell people running their fireplace, but it's like that crispy morning vibe. That's kind of what I'm getting, and that's what I get when I'm looking at this stone. So take it as you will. maybe that will guide you. Maybe you need to be outside a little bit more. Okay, let's take a look at what you need to release though. Ooh, the darkness. What do you need to release, Aqua? I think what you need to release is this idea that everything is like, it's almost like this is your pessimism. But it's also what happens in the darkness, transformation. What else is happening in the darkness? I feel like this is more about you've been in culmination, like you've been in for so long. Isn't that funny that this stone is all about the light, and we have like this beautiful contrast happening of the darkness and the light, and you need to release this. And what do you need to embrace instead? You need to embrace self-care and really accepting yourself, really really lighting you up from the inside out. What is it that you actually need? Place the focus a little bit more on you, Aqua. I know that sometimes we get so caught up in wanting to give, helping others, doing things for other people. And it's like, where are you on that list? Where are you showing up? Are you first or are you last? You know, this idea of potentially burning out for the sake of saving others, drinking the poison for the sake of saving others, that you need to kind of release that idea. And you really need to embrace how to really take care of yourself the best possible way. And so what is it that you need to release? So what is it that you need to embrace, and why? It's because drawing down on the sun, the wildflower, the divine masculine, the magnificence, is because it's time for you to come out of hiding. It's time for you to come out of the darkness. Time for you to come out of the get off of the meditation pillow. It's time for you to really shine and show all of the things that you're here to share with all of us. You guys are very, very intuitive. And like the most individual thinkers that I personally know. So really, you need to show us the way. You need to really get out there and actually shine your light. And here's why. Is because when you're blocking your own flow, which I mean, I'm absolutely guilty of, when you're opening up those gates of allowing, then you're basically allowing source, you're allowing spirit to kind of flow through you and give it what it needs. So like realign your energy where you're shifting the focus away from others, shifting it back onto you so that you can really serve from a full cup. I feel like especially for the month of December tends to be all about other people, all about the giving, all about the sharing, and all about the exchange of energies. And the thing is that when we don't take time to really fill up our own cup, to fill up with light, and to fill up all of the areas of our lives that we really tend to neglect the most, then you're really giving from like nothing. We're giving from an empty cup. Let's see what the tarot has to say. So we have Father of Pentacles, we have the Moon, we have the Six of Swords, and we have the Ace of Pentacles. So let's unpack. What you're releasing is this idea of being within, right? But it's almost like you were within, you were kind of holding all of that information in because you were all about preserving your wealth, preserving your information, it was all about preserving, right? And I think that that's great, but it's not serving you to its fullest ability. It's not allowing you to really lead. And I think that that's kind of why you need to kind of let that go. Just know that that chapter is done and then start moving forward, right? And then the idea of, again, with maybe like your self-care game, we're very much going to involve a lot of shadow work. But I think this is not so much shadow work. This is more about really attending to your emotions, really attending to emotionally, what do you as a person need? What does my Aqua need in order for him or her to be at its highest? Because honestly, you vibrate differently when you're vibing differently. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're vibing at like the highest capacity, you move some serious spiritual stuff. So just know that like a lot of the things that you're doing, if you want to serve at the highest level, you need to take care of yourself to the maximum. So just keep that in mind. I think that you're going to be tapping back into your own emotions. You're going to be getting the downloads and your intuitive hits, which perhaps it kind of has dwindled in the last little bit. And a lot of it has a lot more to do with just you burning out and just kind of running on fumes at this point. And when you do, just know that throughout all of this, you can come out like when you start shining your light, you basically transform. You can transform that energy into something very beautiful. But I think that you need to let go of this idea of being scared of your own power. I very much feel like you want to kind of control it because of insecurity. You want to kind of control every element of how it's going to be, how you're going to share, how you're going to be showing up with your relationships, which part of you you're sharing with people, right? Like all of that is kind of, it all goes back to control, and you need to kind of release that. And when you do, then the way that you show up in your business, the way that you show up in your relationships is going to be a lot more precise, and it's not going to be misunderstood. I very much feel like sometimes you have a hard time with this because you have so many things coming at you that you want to respond to all of them, right? And I know that this is really general, but basically what I'm kind of seeing here is in order for you to do better within your career, and in order for you to create true transformation for yourself, and if you're running a business, then for your clients as well, it has to start with you and really listening to your intuition, right? Really embracing this idea that you are here to shine, you are here to lead us in a new direction with your insights and with your wisdom, but that can only come if you create space for it to allow, and that comes from something bigger than you. That doesn't come from your own intellect. So just kind of take that as you will. Know that that's definitely your message right there. This is all I have for you, Aquas. I hope that this has resonated. Stay tuned until the end. I'll pull a couple of extra cards for the collective. Let's go. Okay, friends, we made it to the very end, and I wanted to pull a couple of cards just as general guidance. What does my air signs need to know for the month of December, please, as a collective? What does my air signs need to know? Very simple and interesting. So I think that you need to be okay with leading your own life and taking ownership of your own life and actually going from what is in alignment for you. And I think that you also need to create your own security that does not come from outside of you, that comes from within you. You know, I think that you need to spark your own light and you need to shine it, which we talked about with each of you, of how you can kind of do that in the most aligned way. But ultimately, know that you guys are here to lead us into the next phase, into a new direction. So sometimes like people will get triggered by that, and that's okay, because that's focus on the mission. That's what I'm getting. Focus on the mission, and whatever that means for you in whatever area of your life you're focusing on. Focus on what really lights you up ultimately, which is, you know, the kind of the theme of December anyway. This is all I have for you. I hope that you have found this helpful, useful. If you did, you can give me a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you have not yet already. And I will see you guys again in my next video. Bye.